Hi Jefferson, it's Mrs. Feltons here. I hope all of you are staying happy, safe, and healthy during this crazy time. And I just want you really quick to know how much I miss you, every single one of you, so much. You might notice that a lot of your teachers are starting to upload videos and lessons to your Google Classrooms to help you with our online learning during such a crazy time in our life. So I wanted to get in on some of the fun too. So I wanted to bring you some videos about one of my favorite subjects to teach, which is writing. I think writing is so important. It's one of the coolest things that we can do. You can write when you're feeling happy, you can write when you're feeling sad, especially during such a weird time in our lives when a bunch of us are stuck inside or stuck at our homes and aren't able to go see family and friends. I've been journaling a lot, and it helps me when I'm feeling, sad, or on those days where it's bright and sunshiny out and I get to put all my feelings down on paper too. And it's really cool to be able to look back later after all of this craziness is over and read how I was feeling during the time. So what I wanted to do is take you through just a little mini introduction lesson on some really important things to remember when you are writing. So again, like I said, you can write and you can journal. It can be writing that you are doing for your teacher, or it can be you writing a letter to some people that you aren't able to see right now and mailing it in the mail, which is cool too. So if you are currently in one of my writing classes, you probably are familiar with something that looks a lot like this, okay? This is for our 5-star writers. 5-star writers are able to follow all 5 of these kind of tips and tricks to make sure that their writing is as strong and amazing as possible. If you are a good writer, it's interesting for your readers to be able to read your writing and get some enjoyment out of it. It makes sense. It looks nice with beautiful handwriting, which is one of Mrs. Felton's pet peeves. So I want to take you through just a couple little things today, and then next week I've got a really cool writing thing coming to you too. So let's first go through all of these little 5 tips and tricks that's going to make you rock star writers. Okay, the first one is use simple and compound sentences that make sense. Okay, so if I have a sentence that says I have 2 cats. Boring, right? You're probably thinking, Miss Feltons, you could have done a lot better. Well, if I'm going back to my checklist and looking that I want to use simple and compound sentences that might put some different ideas together to make our writing a little more interesting, I could write something that looks a little more like this. I have 2 cats, and their names are Callie and Milo. So this one sounds a lot more interesting than just being super boring and putting something up there that says, I have 2 cats, right? So let's try to make our writing as interesting as possible. That's our first one. Our second one is to use capital letters for names, for proper nouns, for places you're going, and at the start of every single sentence, okay? They're super important. Like if I go back to my sentence that I write here, I used a capital at the beginning, of course, and then I also had to use capital letters when I wrote the names of my 2 cats. That's so important. So if you are doing any writing for your classroom on Google Classroom, please make sure you're using capitals for names as well. Sometimes those are forgotten about. The next part that we want to focus on is using punctuation at the end of every single sentence. You cannot forget it. It's so important. How am I supposed to know when you're done talking or when you're done with a complete thought without a punctuation mark, okay? If you remember from school, some of our punctuation marks are an exclamation mark, which you can say when you're really excited or really angry. I use a lot of punctuation marks when I'm writing about how naughty my cats are and how I have to yell at them all the time. A period when you're at the end of just a regular informative sentence, or a question mark if you're asking a question to anybody. So make sure you're including those as well. Oh boy, this next one might drive me the craziest out of all of them. Okay, number 4 is to make sure that you're using spaces between your words and between your paragraphs, okay? I'm going to show you a sentence and you're going to see it and you're going to probably go, can't read that. Well, let me just see. Can you read it? Probably not very well. This says, this is really hard to read, isn't it? I wonder why it's so hard to read. I bet it's because I forgot all of my spaces in between my words. I see some of my friends in room 31 that work with me that forget spaces. So a lot of times I tell them to put those finger spaces in there. Put that finger in between those two words so you don't forget. Otherwise, I can't read your work. It's super, super hard. Or sometimes if you're at home, what you can do is you can find like a pen or something laying around and put a pen down between your words to help you remember to space them out. A popsicle stick, anything like that. This is super hard to read, so try not to forget your finger spaces. If we have good spaces, we're going to have nice sentences. This is much better like this. Okay? And our last thing that we have to remember is to use wow words to make your writing interesting. Wow words are those words that just make your writing so, so cool. If I'm writing a plain old sentence, my cats are bad. Lame, boring. That is so boring to read. So what I need to do is I need to add in some more information to make my readers, whoever's reading my sentence, go, wow, that's really cool. My cats are so naughty when they try to sneak outside. So that is a lot more interesting to read because it doesn't just say why they're bad, or it doesn't just say that they're bad. It says why they're so naughty and why they're crazy. Also, these are all very true things. I have 2 cats that are like the worst, naughtiest cats in America. So you might hear some more about me, about my cats coming from me later. Okay. So again, if we are following these 5 steps on our writing checklist, you are going to be rock star readers. I have a couple examples for you really quick. I'm going to show you a sentence and I want you to tell me what I am missing from it. Okay? Ooh, that's hard to see. Here's my first sentence. I miss you. Think about it. What am I missing off of this? If you're thinking that I'm missing the part that uses simple and compound sentences to make it make sense and to make it interesting, you are correct. I could say that I just miss you guys, or I could say, I think about all of you every day and miss seeing your smiling faces. This is so much more interesting to read than just saying I miss you. And it's very, very true. I miss all of you so, so much. All right. What about this one? Mrs. Feltens misses you all so much. What am I missing? If you are thinking that I am missing a punctuation mark, you are correct. Now on this one, I could add a period in here if I wanted to, or I could add an exclamation mark, because you know that if I'm telling you I miss you, I'm saying it like, I miss you so much. So it needs to be an exclamation mark. And my last one, same sentence. What am I forgetting? If you thought that I was forgetting capital letters, you are correct. I forgot one at the beginning, and I also, so silly of me, forgot to capitalize my own name. So again, remember capitals at the beginning and capitals for names. Both of those are equally as important, okay? All right, Jefferson. Well, that was our little mini lesson for today. Now, I'm noticing that a lot of our teachers are uploading journal prompts and things that you can write about on your Google Classroom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload our 5-star writing checklist on there as well, so you can kind of refer back to this. So that way, if you're journaling and you are writing to respond to some of those questions that they're putting on there, maybe you can check this out and make sure that you're not forgetting any of these things. Even though we're not at school every single day, it still is important just to make sure you're doing your own writing and checking it yourself, okay? Next week, when I come back to you, we're going to do some more writing together, and we're going to make it kind of interesting, and we're going to do something that's going to even make you a little hungry, okay? All right, miss you guys so much. Love you, and I'll talk to you soon.